Alright, y'all. This is the last one. This is the last part right here. We're in part 7. This is like recently came out. Hey, we're going to be jumping into part 7 of Extreme Stories of Revenge that went too far. So, I can't wait. I can see, and you know the thing about this? I can see that like stuff like this and embarrassingly dumb ways people die. I can see that this is like going to be those types to where this is going to be forever running, because everyone has a story of how this person died or a revenge story that went too far. So hey, I will say stay tuned for more of these, y'all, because it's going to be going down. But we are diving into part 7.
Some say revenge is a dish best served cold. Well, those people are wusses. Revenge is best served flamin' hot and covered in spiders. It's time for more dastardly tales of fiendish vengeance.
Vengeance!
So, from some truly impressive uses of dog doodoo to a group of thugs made homeless and destitute, here are some more extreme stories of revenge that went way too far.
Way too far. Let us see.
Rocket powered.
Rocket
I
powered?
asked you guys to send in your own terrible tales of vengeance, and boy did you. Take this one, sent in by a fan we'll call DM.
DM?
Back in South Carolina in 1998,
DM? Okay.
when he was in high school, DM's girlfriend ditched him for another guy. Let's call him Chad.
Chad,
now,
I see
DM
why.
knew Chad. He lived in the same apartment
Look at that
complex.
chin. Freaking
Also, he knew that
Chad.
Chad drove a Camaro that he loved more than life itself. So, heartbroken and enraged, DM thought up a gnarly way
Looking
of
outside
getting
during
back
the
at him.
storm.
He began
I'm about to
setting
burn
a
something.
trap in the dumpster of a local Chinese restaurant. Then,
I'm about
he
to
waited.
start some arson.
About
I'm
a
about to
week
go
later,
ballistic.
He caught 2 huge, smelly raccoons.
Raccoons.
It had worked. Now, our hero needed to act fast and snagged himself a vehicle entry kit from the auto shop he worked at. Around 1 a.m. that night, when all was silent, our guy snuck down to the complex's parking lot. After grabbing the caged raccoons and locating Chad's car, DM used the entry kit to pop open the lock and proceeded to drop the 2 supersized animals inside. Then he quickly shut them in and snuck back to bed. The next morning, Chad woke up to a supremely nasty surprise. His precious Camaro was utterly ruined. The raccoons had spent the entire night fighting, pooping, peeing, and tearing up the inside of his beloved vehicle.
Raccoons.
Staring down who knows how much in repair costs and completely unable to get the stench of raccoon dookie out of the interior, Chad was forced to scrap his darling car. I hope he enjoyed taking the bus. I'm sure DM enjoyed watching him. Pranks a
Okay,
lot.
that
I love a
one
good prank as much
above
as the next
average
guy,
of
but
revenge.
There are limits, people. Something Redditor Tremendo the Great apparently doesn't understand. Sometime in the 2010s, Tremendo was trying to work, but kept relentlessly getting prank called. Hey, if it was a prank war Mike wanted, then it was a prank war.
I'm about to
he did.
burn the house down.
Rather than drag out the fighting, Tremendo decided
I'm about to
finish
burn this house
things with
down.
a single move. Knowing Mike was enjoying the single life right now, he got to work gathering free legal documents online. Income disclosure, visitation schedules, statements of parental rights. Yep, Tremendo was going to serve Mike paternity papers and convince him he was a dad. After filling them out and crafting an emotional cover letter from the phony mother, an Irish exchange student named Eliza, it was time. Now, Mike was a popular local bartender, and Tremendo wanted to amp up the carnage to 11. So he enlisted another friend, one Mike had never met, and instructed him to deliver the documents at 10 p.m. on Saturday night, when the place was guaranteed to be packed. He also let Mike's boss know what was going to happen, trusting him to play along. When the time came, Tremendo hid away from the bar so his laughter wouldn't give anything away. Then his pal approached, coldly served Mike the paternity documents, and left. Cue 10 minutes of absolute terror as Mike ran around the place like a headless chicken. He poured himself several drinks to try and calm his nerves before dashing to his boss and begging him for advice. After a long conversation that probably centered around responsibility, his boss finally relented. A huge smirk formed on his face as he told Mike to take a closer look at the final page of the documents. There, in minuscule size 2 font, was the phrase, "Go frick yourself, Mike." Mike's face twisted into a strange mix of relief and anger, and he ran over to Tremendo, who was in hysterics, before thwacking him hard in the chest. But it was a small price to pay for Tremendo. The prank war was over as swiftly as it had begun.
But hey.
Now, if you don't want me to enact my righteous revenge, you should really drop a like and subscribe to my channel. That's
that's what you get when you prank.
You have a revenge.
You want to be funny? Let me show you how funny I can be.
That revenge
now you'll know not to do it again.
You could make it into the next episode.
Learn.
Firing a coworker.
Firing a coworker
is sacred.
Oh, well, see,
if
that
someone
prank
interrupts me and my can of Campbell's SpaghettiOs,
above average.
It's beat down time. Clearly, Redditor Detroit Yeah Dude agrees. See, back in 2015, while working a job in a big factory, he fell afoul of a lunch thief. And they weren't just a one-off criminal. Whoever it was, they raided his lunch from the fridge for an entire week straight.
A whole week straight.
They say Detroit was ticked off.
I'm about
now,
to break some
this
bones.
Was big. Couple that with the fact that dozens of temps regularly came and went, it would be nearly impossible to track down the culprit. So Detroit had a better idea. If the jerk wanted his lunch so bad, they could have it. But they certainly wouldn't be enjoying it. That night, he carefully crafted the tastiest-looking fajitas he could imagine.
That looks so...
made them completely unsuitable for human
deliciousness!
The secret ingredient was in the sauce.
Wow!
As well as the usual tomato, onion, etc. Detroit minced up an unholy amount of Carolina Reaper peppers, once known as the But on the face of it, the booby-trapped lunch looked delicious.
Yum!
The next morning, Detroit arrived at work, popped his creation in the fridge, and got busy. Sure enough, within just an hour, a blood-curdling scream echoed over from the lunchroom. Bingo. Detroit followed the cries for help to discover a man lying on the floor, gasping for air, with worried people all around him. It turns out the intense heat from the fajitas had induced a severe asthma attack in the lunchbox bandit.
Dragon Flame Jutsu!
Straight to the hospital. He ended up fine, but remember kids, crime doesn't pay. But you will if you mess with somebody's grub.
No. I would say that's extreme. That's by far the extremest revenge I have seen so far. I've never tried. I don't even like hot stuff. But California hot peppers? Nah, man. It's like eating, what was that challenge? The one chip challenge? It's like eating just the whole chip. I'm talking about the whole chip. You're like chewing on like it's bubble gum, and boom. You are in pain for God knows how long. Bro, I would say that is probably the most extreme thing. Because I've seen like videos of people doing challenges like that, eating like the hottest thing ever, and they just straight up just gone. They passed away. Why would you eat something so hot to where your body can't take it? You eat something so hot to where you're melting. You're melting. Nah, man. Hey, I'll say you deserve it. If you're eating my food for a whole week straight, sneaking around like a fucking raccoon, eating my meal for a week straight, while I'm working, nah, you deserve it. Now you know the next time you come out of the hospital not to eat people's food. Bring your own food. Go to McDonald's. Go to Wendy's. Go to freaking Burger King. I don't care. Bring your own food and stop eating other people's food. Because sooner or later, you're going to be on the floor screaming and writhing in agony.
Scumbag stepmom.
Scumbag
Ever since
stepmom.
Cinderella, stepmoms around the world have suffered a bad rep. Sometimes that rep is fully deserved, though. Like in the case of Reddit user Young Sour
My hag of a
Swedes.
stepmom.
After his mom passed
PlayStation
away at
4.
just 55, his depressed and lonely dad married Grace, a Machiavellian character 15 years his junior that was clearly, at least a Swede, only after his dad's dough.
Of course.
See, dear old dad was a successful investment
Looking like Santa
banker,
Claus.
so he was quite the prospect to a gold digger. However, their marriage wasn't to last. Sadly, though perhaps not to Grace, Swede's father passed on not long after they'd tied the knot. Predictably, he left a huge sum of money to Grace, but he left the family home to Swede, and she couldn't stand that. Several months later, Grace was already dating somebody new, Ivan, and both were staying in the family home. You know, the home Swede owned now.
Right.
Although you wouldn't think of it from the way Grace and Ivan acted like they owned the place. Swede didn't like them one bit, but he put up with their arrogance and entitlement out of respect for his dad. Well, one day, our guy returned home to some bad news.
Uh-oh.
Grace had given away his PlayStation 4 to her new man's cousin.
No!
Because she decided Swede was too old to be playing video games anyway. That was the last.
No. I can understand them dropping a PS5 on an expensive BMW, but you're gonna give my PlayStation to somebody else? The moment you touch something that doesn't belong to you, especially if I'm using that every single day, it about to get physical.
Soon after, Grace dropped the news that she and Ivan would be leaving the country for a short while to get married, and asked Swede to watch the house.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yes, his own house. Rather than act offended, Swede simply smiled and agreed. Now was his chance. As soon as the cretinous couple left, he got to work. Swede hired movers to take all of Grace's possessions and place them in rental storage.
Okay.
Next, he changed all the locks and started advertising. He was leasing the place. Swede was quickly inundated with inquiries and settled on a nice young family to become his tenants.
Okay.
When Grace returned to find the locks changed and a family she didn't know
who are
living there,
you?
she was furious. But after kicking up an almighty fuss about losing her home, Swede's lawyers were quick to remind the self-entitled gold digger that the house legally belonged to him. And just like that, Grace and Ivan were officially homeless. What a wedding present.
Oh, well.
Enjoyed the honeymoon.
Enjoy the bench. Enjoy it. Enjoy sleeping in the trees with the squirrels. Alright? There's always a place to live, and it's Mother Nature. Got trees to the left, bushes to the right, or maybe a small little pond for you to take a bath. Hey, you can live in Mother Nature and enjoy the rest of your days. Living and whatever you're doing. But no, you're not going to take away my PlayStation to give to your fiance. Nah. But I want to talk about the fact that, okay, so the old man dated someone young. Does that remind you of anything? I'll tell you right now. Bill Belichick and his woman, Bill, over 80 years old, and his girlfriend, like under 30, look like an uncle and a niece is dating each other. And I've said this so many times. The moment Bill Belichick passed away, she getting all that money. She knows how rich Bill Belichick is. She's getting all that money. That's why she's around. You know doggone well she is not around just because of Belichick. She's dating him because you are wealthy. You got about 15 mansions you own and probably own a building? Oh yeah, I'll do and say whatever you want because the moment you pass away, I'm getting all that dough. I'm going to be like Scrooge McDuck. I'm going to be swimming in gold coins. That's how rich I'm going to be. But yeah, gold digger. Watch out for him, boys.
A slideshow shock. There's nothing more satisfying than people getting publicly shamed for being unfaithful to their partners. At least, if you're channel fan Ayat. Ayat's friend Josiah was married to a woman named Mercy.
Okay.
Josiah and Mercy
Josiah,
seemed blissfully happy,
Mercy.
and everything was sunshine and roses.
Woo!
And that was until Ayat spotted Mercy at a party cheating on Josiah with a guy named Payman. Like a good friend, our guy snapped photos of the misdeed and went straight to his pal's house to tell him. Naturally, Josiah was heartbroken. What was he supposed to do now? He and Mercy had already planned a huge anniversary party, and it was only 6 weeks away. But Josiah saw an opportunity.
That's okay.
78 people would be attending the shindig, so instead of canceling it, he was going to give them a party to remember. To begin, Josiah let some of his closest friends know about the infidelity and encouraged them to take incriminating photos of Mercy and Payman whenever they caught them in the act. Over the next 6 weeks, they did exactly that. Well, the day of the party finally arrived, and Mercy was excited to start showing off a romantic slideshow of her and Josiah to all 78 guests.
This is going to be great.
But when the slideshow started, her face dropped. There on the screen in front of her family and friends, Josiah was nowhere to be seen.
Wow, I'm loving this slideshow.
There were photos and videos of her cheating on her husband with Payman. She begged Josiah to stop the show, but no.
Make it stop!
The guests sat in utter shock. When the ordeal was over, Josiah regaled the whole tale of betrayal to everyone.
The embarrassment.
Before shoving divorce papers in his soon-to-be ex-wife's hands and leaving. His final words to her were simple. Don't ever say my name again with your disgusting and toxic mouth.
Keep my name out your mouth. Simple.
Pooper Soaker 9000.
Well deserved.
Prepare yourself for
revenge.
a stinky
Well
fan
deserved.
submission from Jeff, whose mom was having a bit of trouble with a rude neighbor when he was 8. This neighbor, Scott, had parked his huge motorhome right outside of Jeff's house. Annoyed, Mom gave him a piece of her mind, and he eventually agreed to move it. All solved, right? Well, no. See, a few days later, Scott moved the motorhome right back.
What the?
Irritated, Jeff's mom approached him again, but this time, he wasn't cooperating at all. Instead, he flung swears and insults at her and outright refused to move it off her property. If that wasn't bad enough, he started throwing his trash all over the yard, too. And that was it. Mom wasn't going to take it anymore.
Nah.
It was a boiling hot summer, and the heat gave her an idea. On top of everything else, Scott's dog had been crapping all over the lawn. Obviously, he hadn't picked it up, so Jeff's mom walked around the yard collecting the brown butt nuggets and dropped them in a container. Then, like some sort of poop witch leering over a cauldron of doodoo, she poured water in and stirred it all together with a maniacal grin. Eventually, the concoction became
even a cat like yes,
brown liquid.
Yes,
forbidden chocolate milk.
I can smell the evil from here.
What you've all been waiting for. Mom picked up her son's squirt gun, filled it with the rancid goo, and started blasting.
Oh my god! It's a poopy
She
gun!
didn't stop until the whole thing was covered in poopy water.
Oh,
Remember,
she decorated.
It was a super hot summer, too.
Oh,
meaning the poopy
boy.
paint cooked hard in the sun.
Oh, boy.
Enter
like
the
100
mega
degrees.
stink. All that
Hundreds
heat
of
hadn't just
degrees.
set the poopy mixture, it also made it absolutely pong. Toxic fumes filled the air as Jeff and his mom fled into the house. The next morning, Scott walked over and was beside himself with rage. His once beautiful motorhome looked like it had been squeezed out of the BFG's backside. Without a word, he pulled the poopy door open and drove away in a rage. Jeff and his mom never saw him again. Some say Scott's still driving around the USA, desperately seeking a way to get rid of the horrid smell. Debt destruction.
What did you expect? What did you expect? Like, you must think that, oh, I can just do whatever I want. Like, I'm sorry, do you not know the consequences of this? Oh, okay, so you don't know. Okay, cool. Well, here's what I was thinking. Maybe she was gonna, like, I don't know, maybe pop his tires or something. But no, I want you gone. So not only that, I sprayed it with enough doo-doo from your dog and created to where it is liquefyingly disgusting. She made a water gun that turned into a doo-doo gun and just pretty much painted your whole RV. Bro, imagine waking up to that kind of smell. But that was well-deserved revenge.
What would you do if the love of your life had a degenerative health condition and you knew that one day they'd wind up in a wheelchair? Well, if you're anything like this now deleted Redditor, who we'll call Walt, you'd commit to supporting them. Unfortunately, Walt was in for the shock of his life. See, his fiancée, who we'll call Anna, had told Walt about the future that awaited her. But Walt embraced it. In fact, he planned to build the two of them a wheelchair-accessible home using his construction business.
Okay.
In the meantime, Walt began doing work on Anna's current home. He invested over $30,000 of landscaping and construction into the place, running everything through his construction business to increase the value for when they eventually sold it and moved in together. Everything seemed to be on the right track, but then the worst happened.
Let me guess.
He began to feel ill.
What?
After going to the doctor, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh,
Anna stepped
man.
up, just as Walt intended to do when her condition worsened. She helped Walt around the house, took him to chemo appointments, and generally offered support. But when Walt suggested they put her house on the market and move in together, she suddenly stopped seeing him and became increasingly distant. Then the bomb dropped. She was breaking up with Walt because she couldn't see herself looking after someone long term.
What?
Let me just reiterate this. She dumped her seriously ill fiancé because she didn't want to look after him, despite being seriously ill herself and knowing she'd need a partner to look after her one day.
Right?
Something Walt was more than willing to do. Oh, and did I mention, it was by text. Shattered, Walt forced himself to accept the situation and drove to Anna's to drop her things off. But when he got there, he saw something that made the situation even worse.
Let me guess.
Anna and a longtime friend were getting intimate on the couch.
Longtime friend.
Man, what a piece of work.
Really?
She left her belongings by the door and left, but later discovered she'd been having an affair with that friend for a long time before breaking up with him.
Long time.
Couldn't stand.
Oh,
9 months
boy.
later, Walt had finished chemotherapy and was on the mend, feeling much better. While going through some paperwork, he discovered the invoices detailing all the work he'd done on Anna's house. He'd spent a total of $32,680. Walt was owed all that money plus interest, and he was gonna get it. So he got his lawyer involved, and Anna had no choice but to pay up. She was selling her home at the time, but even so was left with barely anything after settling her mortgage and paying Walt his dues. Strapped for cash, Anna was forced to move in with her daughter. Embarrassing. But that's not all. A few years later, Walt, now cancer-free and thriving,
Cancer-free?
She was haggard, wheelchair-bound, and
oh, now you want to be back.
Walt, on the other hand, was having none of it. He
Yep.
calmly responded by saying no.
No.
He just couldn't see himself looking
bye-bye.
after someone long-term. Small.
Nah. And the thing about it is, you got people that's really like that. Like, he was willingly ready to make a house to where if you have to be in a wheelchair, I made a house to where it's customized for you to, roll around in the wheelchair. You know what I mean? Yeah, no stairs. Just straight up, just whoosh, living room, whoosh, kitchen, whoosh, bathroom. No problem. But no, you gonna tell me that you don't want to be with me because you can't handle the support, but like I'm trying to understand this. So I told you I was going to take care of you if you already made it to where I'm going to be in a wheelchair because I been to the doctor and all that. I can see my future of me being in a wheelchair. He said I'm going to support you and even going to make a house for you. But now this man got cancer. And it went from temporarily, yeah, I'm supporting you, to where I'm tired of supporting you. I'm tired. It's too much for me. But the moment my man became cancer-free, Like, cancer, like we all know, cancer is a real deal problem. Okay, just like being like handicapped in the future, that's a problem. But the moment you just said nah and you dating his best friend, and now the moment that this man is cancer free, you are now in the wheelchair and now you're looking at him as help me? No. Bye. To the loo. Have a good day. While I'm going to walk away. Walk away. I would even I would even moon walk away. I would, but I'm not. But now I am a much better person than that. Just know and walk away. That's it. And there ain't no need to do no jumping jacks or anything. No, just know and walk away.
World.
No.
Don't tick someone off in a tight-knit community. You'll never be treated the same way again. Redditor A Quiet Borderline
Doggy.
knows this all too well, as she recounted a story told to her by her late father. See, Daddy Dearest lived in a booming city in the U.S.'s Rust Belt region, where almost everyone there was destined to work at the local car plant. Remember that for later. One day, Dad found out that his good friend George had been jumped by some local thugs and was in a seriously bad way. He survived, but was forced to retire early and go on disability. Now, George's dad, Walter, was a World War II veteran and no-nonsense tough guy. So when he discovered the identities of the three attackers, Flynn, Mac, and Zeno, he wasn't going to let them get off scot-free.
Right?
Walter called some of his buddies who were also disgusted at the trio, and together, they started spreading the truth about the assault. And it didn't take long before everyone in town was talking about it. The three culprits all worked at the car plant, and when staff there heard the news, they were ticked off. Slowly, they began giving them terrible shifts, stealing their tools, and generally making their working life hell. After a year of this, all three quit in sheer frustration. So far, so good. What's more, the three unemployed scumbags quickly found that nobody in town would hire them thanks to the awful reputation they'd earned. With no job and dwindling cash, they swiftly became homeless. But that wasn't all. For the rest of their sorry lives, Walter and his friends kept an eye on them, and whenever they seemed to get close to getting a job, they'd start up a rumor mill again and scupper their chances. As far as A Quiet Borderline knows, they never got out of their predicament. I bet they never forgot what they did to poor old George either.
Right?
Drunken distress.
Like what do you, like, bro, what's the purpose of you jumping someone? What? You feel strong? You feel like, oh, I'm in a gang, so I'm just gonna beat up a random person that looks rich or just probably piss me off. Like, you would think that everything has consequence. And look at that. Instead of, I ain't gonna lie, I was thinking they're gonna form like an angry mob and it was gonna like run them out of town or something, but no, this was a little bit better, honestly. They didn't form an angry mob. They did it to where we became a organization to where if you ask for a job, no. Ask for a job, we're not hiring you. Ask for a job, we're closed. And they became homeless. Now you would think that, why did this happen to me? What did I do? Why does everyone giving me the mean mug look like I don't commit a crime or something? You don't force the man to retire. You forced a man you beat up a man so bad to where he had to force to retire. And you wouldn't think that, oh, maybe for what we did to that guy, maybe that's the reason? Guess they'll never know.
Like a lot of people, I enjoy
the definition of a lost cause. Don't be a lost cause.
If you take it too far, you'll end up suffering big time. Ellen from Sweden knew this and weaponized it. When she and her friend Lynn were teenagers, they were having a girls' night together, drinking at Lynn's place. Before long, Lynn wanted to invite Ben, Ellen's ex. Ellen was reluctant, as she still had feelings for Ben and knew Lynn had a crush on him, but eventually agreed, on the condition the two girls would sleep together without Ben. What could possibly go wrong? Turns out, a lot. After Ben arrived, Lynn quickly gave up on her promise and, after a big argument, kicked Ellen out of the room, bringing Ben in instead.
Wow.
Yeah, it's rough. As
That
Ellen left,
is.
however, she noticed how drunk Lynn seemed. Vengeance on her mind, she encouraged her to have a few more drinks and went downstairs.
Yep.
Almost immediately, Ben called Ellen back up to help. Lynn had puked all over the floor. She was clearly far too drunk, so Ellen was tasked with getting her some water in an attempt to sober her up. But our heroine wasn't done yet. Instead of water, she handed her so-called friend a glass filled with straight vodka before running off and leaving the two lovebirds alone. Safe to say, the rest of the night she heard Lynn blowing chunks and Ben stressing out about it. It must have been like calming white noise.
Music.
Don't bug me.
Oh, wow.
If you have a problem with creepy crawlies like I do, this story from a fan named Olivia is sure to make you itch. So, Olivia had just discovered that her live-in partner had cheated on her. Not only that, but she also found out he'd been mistreating her two cats.
Oh, no.
The cheating was bad enough, but hurting her fuzzy friends too, that's where she drew the
Oh,
line.
no.
So,
no.
just before she moved out of their place forever,
About to burn all
she
your
left her ex
clothes.
some parting gifts. A couple of potted plants. Only inside the soil, she'd buried spider and fly eggs. Ooh, boy. Olivia heard later that after she left, her ex stopped having company over and was complaining about a bug problem.
Infestation.
She knew
Yeah.
exactly what that was. The creepy crawly hellscape she'd turned the house into. Yeesh.
Yep. Yep. This was well deserved. I would say this is like number 2. This is that was number 2. I can understand you cheating, but you are not gonna abuse my babies. Oh no. See, that is when I would include the physical. You're not gonna abuse my babies. Now that is when I'm gonna grab the shovel. And we already know. George, swing away.
Hats off. Redditor Curly Girly found out that for the final 2 years of her marriage, her husband had been cheating on her with one of her friends.
Of
Understandably,
course.
she was crushed. But even after the couple divorced, their lives remained awkwardly entangled. For one, they still shared ownership of a car, which they were forced to take turns with. One time, when it was Curly's turn, the car came with a bonus. A hat had been accidentally left inside. One that she instantly recognized. It belonged to her old friend, the very same one that her ex had cheated on her with. As she stared at the traitor's headwear, a devilish idea crept into her mind. Curly grabbed a Q-tip and ran outside to her dog's freshly dropped dookie. I'm sure you can see where this is going. She delicately poked it into the poop, withdrew the brown smear stick, and spread it all around the inside rim of the hat. Then she carefully placed it back where she found it. The next time she got a turn with the car, she noticed the horrid hat was gone. Her ex-friend had clearly taken the bait. Man, I can only imagine the look on her face when she felt that dog doodoo rubbing against her forehead. Hey, act like a poopy head, become a poopy head.
Poopy head.
You've got mail.
I would say
I'm
above
sure your
average.
grandpa is pretty cool, but I doubt he's as cool as this next one. A fan that goes by Bugs had a granddad with a
Bugs?
problem. Some
Bugs
young
Bunny?
neighborhood punks had made a habit out of messing with his mailbox,
Really?
bashing it, setting it on fire, even yanking it clean off with their truck. But our
Okay.
hero wasn't one to take this lying down.
Right?
Oh no. After repairing it
Wrong
countless
move.
times, Gramps decided enough was enough and came up with the perfect vengeance. One day, the old man wrapped super strong bulletproof metal around his mailbox post and concealed it behind a layer of wood. That night, he popped on a ghillie suit, lay in the grass nearby, and waited for the kids to show up. Sure enough, the teens arrived right on cue and went straight for the mailbox, wrapping it in a chain and attaching it to the rear bumper of their truck. But things weren't gonna go the way they expected. This time, when they floored it, the mailbox didn't come with them. It stayed rock solid, and their rear bumper was ripped
Look at
clean
that.
off instead.
All this
And
for
because
what?
these punks were flooring it, they went flying off the road and straight into some nearby trees, totaling the vehicle. The teens all emerged unscathed, but their wallets sure didn't. According to Bugs, it cost around $50,000 for them to fully repair the truck.
Woo!
Jeez. Okay, Bugs.
Money!
admit it. Your Gramps was in the Secret Service, wasn't he?
Not bad. Not bad.
Doggone. Some revenge
Well
stories are
deserved.
so crazy, so
But still kinda
psychotic,
average,
they
though.
can only ever be admitted to while drunk off your ass. When Redditor Angry Inky Owl was at a party back in his first year of college, he found himself chatting with a girl we'll call Pam. And
Pam?
she had such a story. See,
Oh,
the girl had a
Pam.
cat. This little kitty was her best pal, and she loved it dearly. But one day, her feline friend got out and came across the neighbor's aggressive, poorly trained dog. Heartbreakingly, it didn't survive the
Wow.
encounter. Distraught, Pam confronted her neighbor, but unbelievably, he blamed her. He was known for being super defensive of his dog and angrily claimed that Pam was at fault for allowing her cat to leave the house.
On
Well, with no money to
her
pursue
property.
legal action, she was forced to accept the loss and move on. Only joking. She did the complete opposite. One night, she blended ground meat with weed killer, stuffed it in a hen's carcass, and launched the toxic treat over the neighbor's fence. You can guess what happened next. The next day, the neighbor came round screaming that Pam was responsible for his dog's demise, but she denied everything.
I don't know what you're talking
After
about.
all, how could he possibly prove it? Sure enough, she got away with it and
Yeah.
never told a soul. Until Owl, of course, who decided to keep a safe distance from her for the rest of his time in college. Good call, I'd say.
Hey,
You're in trouble.
you're
It
in
often
trouble.
feels like
Wow.
the only way to deal with bullies is to take matters into your own hands. One British fan of the channel called Mark took this to the extreme. You see, back in high school, Mark
I'ma say
the
that-
victim
that
of a
one was kinda-
particularly
was pretty
persistent
extreme.
bully. We'll call him Bob.
Bob.
Every day, Bob would demand Mark give him his drink, usually a bottle of cola, or else he'd get a beating. At the end of his rope and tired of Bob's bullying, Mark returned home from school one day and asked his family for some advice. His uncle laughed and told him that he should empty half of his drink away and fill it back up with pee. It was clearly a joke, but Mark wasn't laughing. Next day, he asked for 2 drinks, one to keep and one for Bob to steal. Then he poured half the cola out of one of them, topped it back up with his own personal brand. Sure enough,
Chuck,
back
Chuck.
at school, Bob the bully stomped over and demanded his soda. Mark happily obliged, handing over the tainted bottle and struggling to contain his laughter as the brute guzzled it down.
Chuck,
He didn't
Chuck,
guzzle it
Chuck.
down for long. After realizing how awful it tasted, Bob spat out the foul liquid in disgust. What's worse, he passed the bottle around for all his friends to try, wondering if they could figure out what was wrong with it.
What?
Holy cow.
What?
Needless to say, after that, Bob never hassled Mark again. And
What? What? You gonna pass it around to your friends to find out what is wrong with this drink? Bro, it could be poison. And you go pass to your friends who are, oh, I feel sick. Here, you try this. Like, bro, if I see you spitting something out, you think I'm gonna try that? But yo, oh my god, and I was saying too, to where, bro, just piss, just pee in it. Just pee in it. They will never know. They won't know the difference. If it's one way to get someone back, hey, you want a drink? Hey, I'll get it for you right quick. Pee in that bad boy, and there you go. Hope you enjoy. Hey, make sure to ask me again for another drink, and I'll be glad to give you a nut. But yo, I am going to say that is it for this, y'all. That is it for this. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed the extreme stories of revenge that went too far, y'all. Now, I will say that the videos of 4, 5, and I think possibly 6, yeah, they might go. I know you're gonna hear some music. You're gonna hear some music in the background, you know, some little game noise and all that, but that's all you're gonna know. But I'm take time to put these videos out for y'all to understand that. But hey, I hope y'all enjoyed. All right. Y'all want to stay tuned, stab the buttons down below. You will see the next live time video that will be happening. But also stay tuned for this weekend's watch party, y'all. Like I stated before, if you want to be part of the maximum experience of my watch party, you will see the link in the pinned chat that will be going down this weekend for you to come on over and enjoy the watch party, including Sunday, where I'll be streaming movies all the time. I'm gonna say like a few movies to be exact, but yeah, Sunday is gonna be pretty much movie day, y'all. But hey, hope you have a good day, y'all. Stay safe, and I will catch y'all later.